going. There's another topic that I think people would like some information on. They've been asking about it all over the internet for quite a while now. And so let's start talking about this. Neutral Zone Studios. Where are we at with the rebuild, and how's that process going?
Well, this is an AI shot because we burned all the sets. Those that survived the black mold, of course, we burned the rest of them. So
it was the only way to be sure. It was sort of like in Aliens. Yeah.
We nuked
it. It's the only way to be sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just hysterical, and that's how I approach it. It's just hysterical. So this is looks like this is a little older shot. So you could see where the corridor, is coming around. It's making the turn. Yeah. Right behind Dan Martin and I is now the corridor that leads to the transporter room with the A-frame. In fact, Scott Little and I have been, shoulder to shoulder and backs to the wall through this whole process of takedown and put up. And and you could see at the end of the A-frame there that you can see, a back room. Yeah. Scott went out of his way to put together, a couple of flats and, build a wall. So it looks like there's actually another corridor at the end of that. You can see the purple doors on the side. That leads to the transporter room. Transporter room's probably about 40% built, I guess, Mike. That's probably close.
I'd say so.
More of the corridor has been built to the left of that image as you get down to the briefing room. And I don't know if you have any pictures, Josh, but we kind of shifted well, there you go in the transporter room. And actually, that's a pretty good shot. That's a good shot of where we are. A couple of more flats have been put up to the left of that image. But what we did was we kind of pivoted. And if people want to film, and I know we've talked about film, and I've gone out and, I've made some commitments, what are they going to want to use? They're going to want to use the bridge. So we have shifted to now working on the bridge. There's a console, and that looks like it's probably been fixed in terms of being painted. All of the plastic flats have been cleaned. Some of the electronics are back working again. But we've also put together the entire structure of the pizza, all new carpeting, leveled out all of the groups, bolted them all together, painted the pieces or the flats for the turbo lift. So we're going to be putting the turbo lift up on the deck and then start building the consoles out from there. And it's been a very, very, very long, and I think Mike will agree, exhausting process. Everything needed a fresh coat of paint at least. Most things were just not made to be, moved at all. So it needed to be fixed. I learned a lot about something called Bondo. We have some great people. Harry Myers, there you go. That's a pretty good shot of where we are.
Yeah.
Harry Myers is a guy who's local to Toledo. He'll come in all the time. He showed up every day except when he got sick. He got very ill. Was in the hospital for quite a while. Other than that, he's been there with us every day, brings his own equipment. Hey, I got a saw. Hey, I got this. I brought it in. Hey, I have some extra wood. Here you go. And then he'll go out and he'll buy tools for the studio. He'll buy all kinds of stuff for the studio. So it's been a very, very exhausting process. things break, things need to be fixed. I'm not even talking about set pieces. Our back door is broken, so that needs a brand new lock. One of our air conditioners, and we found out, we think we have 9, if I'm correct, Mike.
Yeah.
And one of them has probably given up the ghost. So, part of the area gets kind of hot and humid. I know that guy. It's just been, aside from all of that, which people probably don't know, is that the rules and regulations of that area of Ohio is completely different than the area we were in for Georgia. And there were a lot of regulations that we didn't know, that we had to learn the hard way, that the mall people didn't quite, weren't necessarily forthcoming, or maybe they didn't know. So it's start and stop. And we finally got a lot of things out of the way, and we're going to be, firing on all cylinders. I want to turn it over to Mike in a second, but I'm going to be putting out, and I actually sent something to the people who contributed to Patreon and people who contributed to Indiegogo, saying that we are going to be filming in November 1st to the 4th. And, we have 2 scripts at least that we're going to be working on. One is called Redemption, and the other one is called Hereafter. And a lot of it doesn't take place. And, Ruth and Mike, I think Keith is probably the only person who's not aware of this, but, they don't take place on a starship. They take place on like freighters. And how are we going to find a place to shoot that? Green screen? Well, Josh was the one who said, yeah, great, but the CG is going to kill you. And we looked at a couple of other ideas. And then I sort of stopped and said, hey, I have all of these flats that aren't put together yet. Like the 2 sides of engineering across from the ladder, like the big backdrop from auxiliary control. Let's take pieces and just make temporary sets and make a freighter just for the purpose of the film. Even if it's 4 days, then we'll break it down if we have to. I'm sure we will. But the point is, we have all these sets, and they're Star Trek sets. And let's just make something that people haven't seen before. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to film everything that doesn't belong on a starship. And, we'll figure out the rest of it as we go.
All right. Hey, I want to make some acknowledgments. We've got our friends in the chat from the Federation Files and Warp 66 Studios, who helped us out with pickup shots and CG for this film. So, guys, thanks for coming. We really appreciate what you did. And we've also got Vance with us. And, Vance he was very touched by Second Star. And I'm going to put up his comment here. Here I am 35 plus years later, and I love those things, and so does my son. We're proud geeks. I related to this film in ways that I wasn't expected to and felt compelled to watch it twice. When I was a kid, my dad yelled at me and told me, when you grow up, you're not going to like Star Trek, Nintendo, or Batman, so you'd better grow up, boy. Thank you for making this. And Vance, you've inspired so many of us to be here and to do this. None of us would be here making this film if it weren't for you. So thank you again. And you're the kind of person, I remember when he watched it, he said to me that the part that really stood out to him is at the end, where it was a true story from a certain point of view. And I remember that one of the things that I watched in preparation for making this film was Way to Eden. And so when he said that the part that stood out to him was, this is true from a certain point of view, meaning we can all relate to Kathy, my response is, we reach.
Yeah.
So, Michael Sean, give us your thoughts on
Joshua Michael.
Neutral Zone Studios and where we're at and what this experience has been like for you.
Well, just like Ray's talking about, it's been a collective group. The volunteers, people have stepped up tremendously in so many different ways. Even when we look at the people that from the past that have been around, we've Gary Davis, Skip Morris. We've had all kinds of people that have come in that have been in Georgia, helped with the takedown, and they're helping with putting everything back together. And I think one of the things that, when we were first doing the, however you want to say it, the takedown, deconstruction, so on and so forth, we were talking about how we were going to put it back together. And we just thought, well, everything's going to be like a model. We've got everything numbered, and then we'll just put it back. But then it was sort of like, okay, well, now we have a decision of, since we're at this point of starting anew, do we just put it all back together, or do we actually, make it better? And that's kind of where the whole, as I call it, the pimp job came in. And we decided to go ahead and actually, fix things and do the painting, do the Bondo, do the filler, sanding, and so on and so forth. So with that whole repurposing, it's taking longer because of the plain fact. I mean, everything has been beautiful with the fact that we've got stages set up. So the Bondo, the sanding, the painting, and so on. But those things take time. I mean, it's no different than if you're remodeling your house. And then with, like everything, I mean, you always have construction issues. You always have things that just, take extra time. But people have been amazing. And just, a shout out to like Ruthie and Terry Stanford and so on and so forth. Because even when they're down south, comparative to where we're at up north, they're still there. They're very relevant in helping us out and getting supplies and getting, things going. So just a wonderful group of people. Beyond what we were talking about earlier, we've got some great ideas as far as for filming. And I think just like when you think about the original series, I mean, it was about repurposing. It was about taking those sets and moving things around, creating a Romulan bridge, creating, a different room, a different part of engineering, the phaser room, so on and so forth. So I think that was a lot of the brainstorming that we were doing is, how can we take these things, if we go ahead and we set the shots up to where the framing is tight and we do it in a certain way, we can start creating, that magic, and we can actually start filming. So,
and so in so many ways, this is really, it's not just a rebuild, as you said, it's almost kind of a new studio in a sense, because I mean, you're using the elements that you had before, but you're putting the care into refurbishing every part of it. So you're giving the whole thing a new life. Yeah,
exactly. It is. It's new life. It is a refit, and it's been amazing. The thing that is, there you go, Skip, a rebirth. The thing that is truly amazing is, if you've been there in Georgia and you've seen it in the dynamic of how it makes you feel, but when you see it now, and especially with how things have been redone, oh man, it is breathtaking.
New carpet.
New carpet, new paint, the whole aspect of things.
I saw that you guys were building a new captain's chair. Is that correct?
Well, we've got, plans to kind of introduce some new, I would say they would just be a replacement more than anything. Yeah. But, I mean, it's, once again, as we move along and we start just in conversations, we're like, you know what, if we do this at this point, this is going to be something that's actually going to work, and it's going to come together even better. So, and I have to say, I have cherished every moment. Ray's right. We have spent a lot of time being at each other's hips, doing these things. But I think that people are going to be astounded with how things look. And the welcoming that we have had as far as with being up north has been tremendous. All kinds of people have come in. They're excited. I mean, we've got from Michigan, Illinois, Indiana. We've had people from North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, just New Jersey. Yeah, exactly. So,
and I bet guys like Gary Davis and Dan Martin are like beside themselves that it's going on up there. It's so much closer for them.
Yeah, very much so. And Dan Martin, you can see from some of the pictures that you put up. I mean, his excitement's overwhelming. So
I want to say it's an AI smile, but that's really his smile. We just had someone who really turned out to be great, Anthony Shea.
Yeah.
And he drove in from New Jersey, and I wasn't expecting him. And he sent me a message late on a Friday and said, "Hey, I'm outside. I'm outside. Can you let me in?" And I was like, "Okay, who is this?" And he gave me his name, and I opened the gate and I let him in. And I had no idea why he was there. And I said, "Well, what brings you to Ohio?" And he said, "My car." And the guy drove. He got one of my emails that we needed volunteers.
Right.
And he just got in his car and he drove. And he was with us for 3 days. And if there's anybody who's as instrumental in putting together what you've seen of the bridge, it was Anthony. And I have to give a shout out to Jeannie Townsend.
Oh, yeah.
Who were down on their knees making sure that seams matched and paint, tape was down on the floor. And really, when you talk about a labor of love, that's what these people are doing.
Yeah, Stephen Haber actually cut carpeting and got all those pieces measured and cut. So big shout out to Stephen. Yeah, as far as with Jeannie and her husband Rick, I mean, they've been tremendous. We've got Dwayne Royal. He's actually coming from North Carolina. Trying to think of everybody as far as
it's hard. There've been a lot of people.
Right.
Hey,
people local, and then that have
how
helped
about
out.
Finney? You had
Finney. Yeah, Finney has been fantastic. Marvin, who, has been there with us before as far as the neutral zone in Kingsland, Georgia. Marvin has been tremendous. So,
and as you probably know, Josh, most of you guys, certainly Ruthie and Mike, and I'm sure Keith, one of the problems you have in an effort like this is that we all have day jobs that we have to go to in the week.
Yeah.
So you'll have a great crew on the weekend, and then you don't see them again, and some guys can't make it back for a couple of weeks. And that's what happens, and it's very, very hard.
Yes.
Guys like Dwayne, guys like Harry. We have another guy that wants to join us. His name is Kurt. Those guys, they're retired, and they just want to work. So if you can get those three plus, me and Mike and Scott in a room for, a week, 2 weeks, lots of things going to get done.
Right. So let's answer a couple questions here real quick, because I know that they're, because people always talk. Let's kind of address a couple of things. Barry asked the question, Ray, after the sets are completed, how much square footage do you have left for other sets? So there's a very specific answer to that.
Well, I don't know that there's a very specific answer to that, but
other than we're not building anything we didn't have.
Well, yes, but
Right.
We are planning on putting in some non-Star Trek business. I'm just going to leave it at that. So if the original set was 15,000 square feet, now it's not 26,000 square feet, because that 26,000 square feet is made up of rooms around the sides. So there'll probably still be a good 5,000 or 6,000 square feet left over. And that's going to be great for, bringing in other businesses. So
essentially, you had some communications, people put terminology on it, but you've had some communications with the IP holder.
correct.
Where they laid out to you their expectations on how you should operate. And so to be in compliance with their requests, but also fund the studio, you're going to be operating something that is not Star Trek related in that same area.
That is correct.
Okay.
Completely separate, brand new company, no affiliation with the IP holder or Star Trek or any new entity that comes in to be an IP holder. This is going to be completely different.
And the purpose of the studio going forward will only be to make fan films.
That is correct.
It will be a movie studio.
It'll be
That's
a
it.
movie studio.
That's
All right.
what you know, originally movie studio, now movie studio.
Fantastic.
But we're looking at, just like what Ray's talking about, what we're talking about is expanding to where we have things that are interactive.
Fantastic, guys.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, and just like it's not a open floor plan. It's the type of thing that you got to, I mean, this is where TJ Maxx was at previously. So there's rooms that were for offices and so on and so forth. But it gives us great rooms for storage. Like we now have for equipment, we have what I officially call the, you know, the camera room or the film room, where we actually have lighting, equipment, so on and so forth. So props, costumes, we have dressing rooms now.
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms.
Gosh, we have bathrooms.
Yeah.
So,
working bathrooms that are
so an aside on
nice.
that, you know, towards the end, I think the bathrooms in Kingsland were fed by like a garden hose or something. But
Well, here's the deal on that. Yes, they were fed by a garden hose
At one point.
at one point, and then somebody cut the hose.
In
Somebody
multiple
cut the
places,
hose.
if I recall.
So-
Yeah.
so we
Sections.
would-
They cut
yeah,
sections
so
out of
Ruth
it.
knows because Ruth had to carry barrels of water. And Mike had to carry barrels of water. I had to carry barrels of water
oh
just so
my
that we
gosh.
could flush.
Well, so here's the thing. Our friends at Warp 66 Studios, now their sets are in two different buildings.
Right.
One of those buildings is out. It's out in Rura Pente, you know, like out in Flippin, Arkansas. Glenn's building that he built it out in the middle of nowhere, and it you know, it for a long time didn't have a working bathroom, and so what I would do is I would go out the back, you know, go behind the building.
Pick a tree.
We'd be at neutral zone, like all the bathrooms are full. I had to go. I'd be like, guys, I'm gonna go pull a Warp 66, you know, and I just go outside.
Didn't we do that at Ray Parker, Ray Parker Jr.'s?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that at Ray's. Somebody
Yeah,
actually,
Frank Parker's.
Frank
place,
Parker.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
somebody actually fell in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
That's
Now,
another
you know, that
story for another
surprises me,
time.
though.
Yeah.
Warp 66 surprises me because you got Glenn and you got Dan and you got all kinds of talent. Just build a porta
Well,
potty.
so Dan's facility has bathrooms.
Oh, good.
Dan's facility has air conditioning.
Wow. I give him props.
It's Glenn's facility that doesn't have either one of
Oh,
those
okay.
things, and I'm not bagging on him. It's been quite an adventure filming there for the past 7 years, but that's just the reality of it. Is you know, Glenn bought a plot of land and he put up a metal building with sets, and they're beautiful, and I love shooting there. But you know, you either have to go to the bathroom outside, or you got to go to Walmart. And you know, I'm going to kind of give Jonathan a hard time because he isn't here anymore. But you know, when he made Interlude, he was like, "Well, now that I've had the fan film experience," I was like, "You haven't had the fan film experience. The fan film experience is being at Warp 66 Studios in the middle of the winter where everybody's huddled around a heater in between takes and going to the bathroom out the, you know, in the backyard or whatever. I mean, that's the fan film experience."
No, it's being in July.
Oh my God.
Filming with a Monster Maroon on.
Yeah.
In Frank Parker's garage.
Yeah, or in the neutral zone that we did right after, you know, the Independence Day holiday. Yeah, and the lights are on you, and then you're trying to remember your lines. And I remember Ray saying, Mike, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I had a stroke. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, that
makeup,
was-
he's sweating again. Makeup,
Oh man,
he's
the
sweating.
funniest saying was, Josh, cut. Somebody fix Mike's hair.
I did a film.
Every fan film facility just about has been like this. You know, it's
Oh, I
not
know.
just
Yeah,
them.
it's
You
I
know,
know.
extremely hot or
the
extremely
first
cold.
time I
Yeah,
shot at Neutral
yeah.
Zone, it was 100
That's-
degrees.
Yes.
You all know, as filmmakers and writers, you have to pivot, right?
Yeah.
So I did a film probably right after Memorial Day, but in like 2019. And it was so hot. I had all of these people who came to do the film, and only about 10 of them wanted to be in the studio. They couldn't even do it. So I had like from, 25 to 10.
Yeah.
And we're all filming, and the sweat is just pouring down. So I changed the story where, the life support system gave out. What do you do? Right?
You pivot.
You pivot.
The things we do to make these movies, man, like we're crazy people. We're nutty.
We are.
I mean,
The only
Hey,
good thing is
the
we don't
car
have any.
can drive 8 hours to Kansas. Like, why? Well,
Yeah.
because
Why? Right? I mean, the
Oh.
only really good thing is we don't have loaded guns on the set.
Think about the drive to Kingsland, Georgia.
I've done it many, many times.
Yeah.
And you talked about Gary's got his only 2-hour drive or whatever. Like Neutral Zone now in Sandusky is closer by 1 hour than it was in Kingsland. So it's like it's only going to be 13-hour drive now. I would leave. I think the first time I ever drove to Kingsland, we left Fayetteville, Arkansas at like 6:30 in the morning, and we didn't get to Kingsland until like 1 a.m. local time or something. But that was like stopping to eat and things like that. I had it down to a science, man. I had it down to an art by the end, where I had like very specific gas stations I would stop at. I knew exactly which ones I was going to stop at. And I had a way of driving where I only stopped for gas, and I could leave at like about 4 in the morning, and I would be there by about 7 o'clock at night. And I think the last time we went, Tyler was already there. Like Tyler had been in Jacksonville, or he'd been down there with Sean Patrick Kennedy, and so Tyler met me in Kingsland. And I got on the phone with him. He's like, "Hey, so what are you gonna get here about? Like 2 in the morning?" And I was like, "No, dude, I'm 5 minutes away." He's like, "What? Shit!" And he was like, so I got there, and then I was like, "Let's go eat some steak."
Yeah.
It's just an interesting experience, but you know what?
I love it.
Oh, that's it. Love.
And
That's
You have to
the
love it to
word.
do
It's
crazy,
love.
Crazy
Yeah.
things.
I mean,
and to think if these sets were trashed, what a crime.
What a
How
crime.
many
Wow.
people? How many
What a
people
crime.
get so much joy and happess from doing this?
well, this
I
is
just
a
wish they
legacy.
knew how to-
You know,
I just
come on.
wish those people who built it knew how to build. That's all. How do you have
I
four?
don't know what that means.
How do you have 4 pieces of 2x4s all attached, and you can't find the screw?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. So you're not
Yeah.
talking about the original builders. You're talking
The original
about
builders, yeah. I mean, you get a guy like Scott Little, man, and you could set a nuclear bomb off, and we'd still be there. But
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah, Scott's. I mean, his skill level is amazing, and props to Scott Little and everything that he's done comparative to mapping everything out. I mean, the guy took the blueprints and he numbered everything, just like if you have a model that you open up from AMT and everything's numbered. Just think about every single piece there, as far as those walls and everything got.
and it's
numbered.
all labeled and numbered to
Yeah.
where they belong. So these are all
Right.
sick bay pieces.
So everything can
These
get
are all
put back
corridor
together
pieces.
properly. Yeah.
And you don't know what it's like to see 5 people running around looking for B325.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially when we had all that stuff locked into all these carts, and we're like, I think it may be over this way. And
Star Trek bingo.
So
Yes.
I personally don't want to disparage the first round of construction
I do
in the
not.
studio.
I do not.
Mike Bednar and those guys, did a wonderful job building that. Now, from
Well-
what I understand, it took about a year to build originally.
Well, I'm not just. I don't. Let me give credit to the Farragut people
Yeah,
because those sets were built. The
there were
problem
phases
had-
in which the set was originally built. It was built in a couple of phases,
yes,
and there were a few parts that were built
Right.
by different people.
that's
and I think
correct.
that's what you're referring to specifically,
That's
like
correct.
part of the briefing.
Different
room.
groups of volunteers.
And
Yeah.
I actually and I
Yes.
figured it out. I put this together, but you would have people come in, every weekend, every other weekend, whatever it was, and they were probably all different people. And so you want to put up, this piece of the briefing room, the arch, and the group would come in and they'd construct it. Well, it took Scott, I don't know, it was like days to figure out how it was actually put together. And he said, okay, I got it. And we went to the second arch, built completely differently.
Within
And
the
so
briefing
now
room.
that's going to be uniform in the new build.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And that's no one's fault. That's just kind of how it worked out.
Absolutely.
Because there were a lot of people that worked on it, like Victoria Avalon worked on the
Yep.
original build. Like she
Yep.
was one of the people. Dan
I mean, yeah.
Scanlon was there. Royal and Sam Rooks.
Was all that.
Alan
That's
Anderson.
right.
Yeah, Alan Anderson.
And you know
all
what?
those-
And give some props, just for whatever, but give some props to Vic, who really put together the funding to do this with his Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But I mean, he kept the project going, and he would go and he would, oversee some of it. But you had people like Greg Green, who were there through almost all of it.
Will Smith.
Who actually came in before we started Teardown,
Yeah.
and I filmed him, showing where these pieces come apart, how these pieces are connected. He didn't know everything, and I don't expect that he would, but he did a wonderful job just helping us figure out where things were.
Yeah.
I think-
yeah,
I
we had a
think
good
the
conversation with him.
I think the big tale is that there were, a lot of people involved in originally creating this thing we love, the studio we love. And, I remember one of the first times that I ever went to the new Farragut studio, and Mike Bednar, had hundreds of photos on his phone from when they had originally built that bridge set, and was showing me and he talked about the first time they ever turned the bridge on, how he teared up seeing it, lit up and all that kind of stuff. And so it's special to so many people. And I feel like the tale that we're hearing today is that where it's at now, there's a similar group of people where a lot of people are making contributions to bring it to life again.
Very much. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, this is the next generation and the next generation. And, and props to John and props to Mike Bednar. Mike Bednar reached out to me and said, hey, when you're working on those pie pieces, as far as with the bridge, make sure that you're leveling them. And I said, yeah, thanks. Cause I said, we have already, but it's just, that's the love of it. He cared enough. Yeah. And I told him, I said, man, reach out to me anytime. I'm available, because of the plain fact that I love that you care enough to reach out and say, hey, just something, just something to think about.
I know
Something to keep in mind.
And this is something, because I know that Gary and Randy want to use the shuttle set. He said, Mike Bednar said he's got some globes for the shuttle to put on the shuttle arms.
Right.
Well,
right.
I found globes to put on the shuttle.
Oh, did
arm. I figured it out. They're just plastic fish bowls.
Yep, that's what they are.
Yeah.
That's all they are, plastic fish bowls.
Yeah.
So,
It's crazy.
I
It's
got
like you
kidneys.
go back to there was a set that Glenn Wolfe built for us for Air and Darkness, and it was like a dog dish was part of it. Like there was this one apparatus, just a dog dish. He's like, I went out and got a dog dish from Walmart and spray painted it. But that's what it was originally, you know, in real Star Trek.
Well,
So
you know what? It's funny the way our minds work, right? So I put together an episode that had M6.
right.
And I was thinking about when M5, you know, shot the beam out and killed the engineer. And there was that thing on the wall that was only there one time, just like everything else. It was only there one time. And I found my daughter bought her cat a play toy. And I said, paint that dark gray, and I'm putting it on the wall. It looked exactly like that unit that was up there that caught the laser or phaser or whatever it released. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we'll have with volunteers, Harry's done this, Jeannie's done this. They love to go to, you know, all kinds of junk stores and you know what, old friend of mine, she used to call it junking. And they'll find stuff all the time. And they go, you know what, I found this, you know, glass goblet. It looks very TOS. And, it, you know.
Harry brings all this stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But, hey, I forgot. I was supposed to tell you this, Josh. Jeannie went to a yard sale. She has what looks to be pretty close to an authentic Harry Mudd costume.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. She is
Nice.
amazing with picking up on costumes at different places.
We'll have to see if it fits David Whitney.
So.
I don't know. This one, I probably not a professional one, but pretty good just the same.
So that's one of the things we're planning on doing once the studio is back up and running and Ruth is writing it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make a film called Mudd Again. and
I want to change the title.
It's going, well, we're calling it Mudd Again.
I know, but I want to change the title. Or at least you have to write another story called Here's Mud in Your Eye.
Yeah, right? Well, we're calling it Mudd Again because it's going to be a face-off between Harry Mudd and Finnegan. Captain Finnegan.
Okay.
Played by
yeah.
And I've been asking to do this for a long time, and we're going to do it when we shoot this. It's not going to take place on a Constitution class. It's going to be a Pioneer class. So, which, if you want to know what the Pioneer class is, check out Star Trek Online. You'll find it there. It's a TOS era ship, a little different. It's got like a really neat look to it. But so I'm excited for that. But you know, realistically, we probably won't be shooting that for another year or something.
Yeah,
like that.
at least.
I think it was in the Fleet Museum scene in Picard
was.
season 3.
That's right. It was in Picard season 3.
Mhm.
So, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. So, you know, I think tonight we've talked about a film that's been very well received by our community, a film that resonates with our community, and in discussing the rebuild of the studio, why? You know, we all love Star Trek. It is a safe harbor for us. And like this character that we watched tonight, the lesson, I think, the takeaway is that we're all different from each other, different from the world, unique in our own way, but that's good. And we turn to Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future because part of that vision is about being inclusive. It's about accepting other people, other ideas, whether they're the same as us or different than us. And for whatever differences any of us have ever had, we all love this. We all want this positive vision in the future. And we perpetuate it as fans, fan filmmakers, set builders, CG artists, writers, and actors, because we want to find our own corner of it to be a part of. That inclusive future, we want it to include us. And while the future of Star Trek may still be fantasy, there are always elements of it we can strive for. And I think as long as we keep this positive vision of the future alive. I think that there's hope for the world that we live in. So thank you to all of you for being a part of this fan film journey. Gene Roddenberry may not be with us anymore, but what he left for us is something we love and care about, and we continue to participate in it and share what's in our hearts about it with the world. So thank you everyone.
Well said.
Very nice.
Well said.
And to audience, everybody tonight, thanks for coming and sharing this live stream with us. We appreciate you. We've got more films coming. Please be patient with us. We're doing it as quick as we can. Unlike, CBS and Paramount, we're just, I'm just the guy who makes TV commercials in Rogers, Arkansas, and we're kind of all sort of like that.
Yeah.
And, we'll have some films for you when we have them. So,
like we said, we all have day jobs, and then
Yeah.
this is what we do for fun.
Yeah.
and not only do I get to go up to Sandusky, I got to somehow figure out how to get Michael Sean Carter down to Arkansas in a few months. So we'll figure that out.
Sorry, Mike.
All righty.
All right.
I
Hey, no, and once again, shout out to everybody that's watching. Thank you for hanging out with us
Absolutely.
and being here. And for everybody that has been a part, all the generations of the Neutral Zone Avalon universe, as far as with everything at Warp 66, Vance, everybody that has been a part in some way, shape, or form. Love you all. It's a community, and that's what makes us great.
All right. Well, we've gone just under 2 hours and appreciate the audience. We'll have more for you soon. And as they say, live long and prosper, right?
Yeah.
I have a
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye.